putty cat, Sirius, has come to join us.
Hello, Sirius Black.
Well, you guess where I got that name from. I should probably cover my bra strap. It's not showing. It's not. It's not showing. It's fine. I hate having wet hair. Oh, I'm annoying myself. Right, so part 2. Hello. I come to you from the past. Which would be way more impressive if I came to you from the future, but I don't. Pre-pregnancy expenses. So this covers a lot of stuff. Most of this was explained at the time because I couldn't figure out where they got this from, but it covers things like folic acid, dietary stuff, when you're pregnant from the very beginning, like belly bands, because most surrogates have had children, and this is like a lot of pregnancies later, so they bloat straight away. So they usually end up having to have belly bands or maternity clothes really, really early on. As said, they have to take folic acid and sometimes iron and pregnancy supplements. Change in dietary stuff as well. I think I said that, so I'm repeating myself. Sorry about that. And bits and bobs and whatnot. So that's where, you know, compensation, because some people have to take time off work to do things. I'm waving this around. Sorry, Sirius. Anyway, so let's get down to it. So basically, they pay all costs in respect to surrogates, life insurance and wills, which is the intended parents thing. Straight surrogacy, you get £50 per month in which one or more insemination takes place. I've actually asked them to waive this because I think it's creepy to be paid to lie on your back with your legs in the air. I don't care if it's inconvenient. I'm choosing to do this, therefore I do not need paid for it. It just doesn't sit right with me. Host surrogacy, they recommend £100 for each embryo transfer if it doesn't involve drugs. Again, that covers mainly travel expenses and stuff to go to appointments. £150 if it's host surrogacy involving drugs. Then, if with host and straight, if the surrogate has made herself available for insemination or embryo transfer, but the intended parents cancel, they still have to pay that month's sort of like sum. But if the surrogate cancels, they don't, which is fair enough. Any travel or accommodation costs for the surrogate, her partner and children, whatever, to travel once to the intended parent's home to see where the child will reside, they should pay for that. We went and didn't ask for money because, you know, don't really feel the need. We were going for a visit. They gave us barbecue. It was all good. The IPs agreed to pay directly for the cost of any reports required by anybody in connection with this arrangement, which is fine. The IPs agreed to pay for any additional medical checks not mentioned, if there are any. Then pregnancy expenses, mainly. Also, it does state, you know, paying for like ovulation kits, pregnancy tests, all that stuff. Trumpet my leg there, I can nick because the toys are right here. Sorry. Then it says, like, the intended parents will pay the surrogate a total amount of such and such as expenses for pregnancy, which obviously varies from person to person, from like £1,000 to £15,000. Well, I think it can be more than 15, but the average in England, I think, is between £10,000 and £15,000. But of course, you know, it sounds like a lot, but when you add it all together, like your food, folic acid, vitamins, diet stuff, maternity clothes, loss of earnings, travel expenses, parking, if you go to the hospital, it costs you nearly £5 to go in for a damn scan, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but usually you end up having more because it's surrogacy. Paying for parking when you're in for having the baby, then your partner's loss of earnings if they take time off to look after you after you've given birth. You know, by the time you add it all in, it's mainly the loss of earnings, I think, that caused the biggest chunk of cash. If requested by the IPs, the surrogate will provide written confirmation of her pregnancy from her GP or clinic and gives copy to the intended parents. Yeah, they're going to come round and dip the stick into my pee, so they'll tell me if I'm pregnant, I think. I'm going to film that if they let me. Especially, you know, if it's negative, it'll be sad. If it's positive, I would love to capture that moment forevermore on video. Even if they don't want me to share it on YouTube, I hope to capture that because I think it would be amazing for them to have and their child to have. That would be lovely. Then basically you get 2% of your overall amount. So say I got £15,000. I'm not getting £15,000, but say I get £15,000, I get 2% of that per month to cover things at the time. So it doesn't really bankrupt the IPs, and it also doesn't mean they're paying out a lot of money if the surrogate then stuffs them over at the end and keeps the child and they have to take them to court to get the money back. They're not getting like massive chunks throughout the pregnancy, which is fine by me. If miscarriage, termination or ectopic pregnancy occurs, then the following amount should be paid to the surrogate. So this is only if a pregnancy is unsuccessful. 8 to 12 weeks is £300. 13 to 15 weeks is £500. 16 to 18 is £800. 19 to 21 is £1,000. 22 to 24 is £2,000. 25 to 28, £3,000. 28 to 32 is £5,000. And, you know, this is what they recommend, so you agree or disagree. 33 weeks to full term, including stillbirth, is £7,500 or negotiable. If the surrogate has to have her fallopian tubes removed, the couple agree to pay her £1,500 if one is removed, or £3,000 for both. In the event of multiple birth, 3,500 for twins, 5,000 for triplets, 7,500 for any more than 3, in addition to the amount specified previously because of the recovery time and all that jazz. If the child is born by caesarean, the intended parents will pay the surrogate £1,500 in addition to the amount specified above. If the surrogate has multiple pregnancy and birth by caesarean, the intended parents will pay the surrogate £5,000 for twins and an additional £1,000 for each additional baby on top of the normal expenses. If the surrogate requires surgery for the removal of the placenta, etc., they will pay the surrogate £500. If the surrogate requires emergency surgery for hysterectomy following a live birth, the IPs will pay £5,000 in addition. If the surrogate is ill during pregnancy, the intended parents... I don't know what happens if it's a stillbirth and you end up with a hysterectomy. I don't see why it's live birth. I mean, if you end up with a hysterectomy because of pregnancy through surrogacy, it seems a bit weird. But then I don't know... I wouldn't necessarily need it. I just think... I'm not saying I'd want £5,000. I'm just... My point here being, I don't see what the distinction is. If you end up having a hysterectomy because of a pregnancy having someone else, why do they say, oh, well, if the baby's passed away, it's tough luck. But if the baby's alive, then they have to pay. It just seems weird. I don't know. Does anyone else get what I mean there? I'm not saying I want money again, but I just find that strange. And it's getting darker now, so I'm sorry if the quality is awful. If a surrogate who is in paid employment has to take early maternity leave as a result of a multiple pregnancy or illness due to that pregnancy, and such lows as a percentage of salary, overtime or bonus, they will pay up to a maximum of £1,000 to compensate this. No amount should be payable unless the surrogate's doctor and hospital has confirmed it and they get proof of employment. This will only be applicable to those employed and will be in place of and not in addition to your earnings. Where the intended parents ask the surrogate to stop work, they will be responsible for compensating her for any loss of earnings over and above the specified amount. And also, if I had chosen to go to the AGM, they had to pay up to £150 for travel and accommodation. Obviously, if it didn't cost me that much, then they wouldn't pay that much, but it would cost more than that if we'd gone. But it was the day before Alice's birthday party, so I bowed out. The intended parents will or will not undertake publicity, and then they say the surrogate will or will not undertake publicity, and that's the only bit under publicity on that page. And the last one is pre-surrogacy arrangements, and then the surrogacy, and then checks and tests, as I said in the last one. And that's it, so that will be the last video. So if you are interested in watching the next one, tune in tomorrow, and I will see you then. Bye.